Hello and welcome to the second episode of the DIY bossing series. In this series we cover builds that are either not supposed to boss or builds that you don't commonly see bossing, or just builds that are supposed to be bossing but relatively under geared, so they're not like fully prepared, and we see how well they fare in bossing scenarios, in Dclone, in Rathma, maybe even in Ubers. So that's the kind of like idea of the series. The first episode covered Arc Blast, so the second episode will be focusing, as I promised, on the Fire Druid. And Fire Druid is a pretty notorious mapper. Let me pull up a video of us mapping. I already have a guide for this build. If you've never seen a Fire Druid map, this is, in my opinion, one of the top like mapping builds in the game, pretty much. Like, obviously Necro dominates like the top spaces for like mapping like in the game, or at least I don't know, I think it's obvious, but Fire Druid is a pretty strong contender for like both early and like late game mappers. He is one of the fastest, and the thing that mostly enables him is the Armageddon skill. It's the Final Fire skill, and Volcano, which he can basically put down as massive AoEs that auto clear for him. Builds that don't have to aim are just very good at mapping, because you can focus on picking up stuff and just like teleporting and moving around, and you don't have to actually aim your stuff and make sure you kill anything. Everything simply dies. So if you've never seen this, you can check out my like guide for Fire Druid if you want to, or you can check other guides. I don't know if there are other guides for Fire Druid, then you can check them. But yeah, very simple build. You can kind of see me going around. This is of course a very under geared, like early season type of demonstration, since we only have half of our skillers. We don't have life on our skillers or other mods like faster hit recovery, which really help. We don't have like a lot of like we don't have any facets in this gear, so this is extremely cheap. Week 1, maybe even like day 4 type of gear that you would have on a Fire Druid. On a ladder reset, and you can already see we clear the map like fairly easily. I try to time like the like how much like would an average map, like average tier 1 would take like a Fire Druid, just to compare it to my pretty fully prepared summoner from our SSF, and it did incredibly well, almost matching the time of our summoner druid, who has full skillers, who has amazing mercenary with great jewels, you know. So I would say Fire Druid is definitely one of the best mappers in the game, and you can start him pretty early. This was like my early farmer in Season 10, which I got most of my wealth with, so I really recommend you try it if you never did. But even through Season 10, when I was playing so much Fire Druid, never once has it occurred to me that I could boss with this build or take him to Ubers even. I was kind of afraid to do it. And let me show you the results of our experiment. So we went ahead and took it to Ubers, and killing the minis did actually take a little bit of time. I had to let my Act 4 Merc kind of tank for me, and use the Act 4 Merc for amp, because your skills are both fire and physical damage. Like all of your skills deal half and half, kind of. The boulders, the volcano, the Armageddon. So it's very nice. And as you can see here, you can let that Act 4 Merc tank for you. He is so tanky, man. He's just so capable of tanking. It is so incredible to see. So we let him tank Mephisto for us. He manages to do it pretty well, and we go ahead and clear Diablo, and Diablo took a little bit more effort than Mephisto. I will say that the hardest part about clearing Ubers was killing Lilith, and not even killing the other minis or the actual Ubers, simply because she kills your Merc so fast, and she's so strong. It's so hard to tank her with the Fire Druid. But still, we managed to do it. It wasn't like that much of a struggle. It was just the hardest part. As you can see here, versus Diablo, you basically just kite him and let your AoE do a lot of work, and whenever you have downtime, you throw out a few molten boulders. Yeah, after clearing those two, I used one of my portals to just resummon my rehire my Merc. I didn't think I'll need more juves, so I just went in. Like, I think we had like something like 10 left. Yeah. I went ahead to try and kill Bale. As you can see, this is a demonstration with gear that is fairly achievable in week 1. So a fairly early game type of Fire Druid, not supposed to be bossing with, but yeah, if you're wondering why I'm going all the way here, it's to despawn the clone that he summons. I didn't want to deal with both of them. But as you can see, Bale is the hardest part out of the three, or at least that's what it was for me. I don't know if it was because of my gear or something. Mostly like the Frost Nova was a little bit annoying to deal with, but clearing the Ubers without too much of a struggle did take us a few juice, but never, I don't think I was in any danger at any point, so I was pretty happy with how it performed during Ubers. Later, we of course took him to Dclone, and considering how we didn't have any facets and we didn't have very strong gear, I didn't actually think we will be able to do Dclone. It seemed a little bit of like unlikely scenario, but I thought maybe we can clutch it out. And if you look carefully, you'll see that I actually forgot to fill up my belt, but I didn't notice in time. But yeah, we take basically the gear we took is the Raven Lore, the Mangsong. The Mangsong only -12 to fire resistances. The Slam is MF Slam, so it doesn't really help us in the fight. But this is like a pretty cheap Mangsong you could probably get like early, like in the season, just like a bad Slam Mangsong. You obviously don't have to do it with a Mangsong. You can do it with a Heart of the Oak too, or with some other staffs like Brimstone would do well here as well. We got 1 Dwarf Star, 1 Skill Ring. We have a Mara's. You could have way better amulets than this on week 1. We have a total of 5 skillers. 5 skill is a lot less than you would have normally. We have our Torch, we have an Anilus. We have a few nice charms and a few okay charms, and we took a few large charms with fire skill damage. Of course, your skillers and like your charms like could be a lot better if you have just like full skillers, especially skillers with life. That would make you a lot safer. So if you're trying to boss on like week 3 or week 4 when you're already fully geared, you'd be in a lot better situation. But let's see how this attempt went. Of course, make sure to substitute some of your main gear for maximum fire, like we showed with Lava Gouts, with Guardian Angel, with Inferno Strides or Water Walks. All of those could be great for you. So we go ahead and we summon, we cast our Armageddon, and you'll see that we're basically focusing on dodging. And yeah, I noticed like a little too late that I didn't fill my belt. So a little bit of a fumble start from us, but yeah, the main thing you want to be doing is dodging and making sure you're close enough to deal damage to Diablo. For the skeleton phase, you can kind of see they actually absolutely melted before I could even like do anything about it. I didn't think it would be that easy to kill them. We empty our cube because of course we forgot juves in our belt, but we didn't actually use that many juves at all. I think we only used 4 for the first phase. You can see I'm just running around him and letting my AoE kind of do the work. You don't really want to face him directly. You just want to let your AoE, which is so strong, to work for you. So as you can see, we finish all the skeletons pretty easily, and again he gets put down to the next threshold for Novas very fast. And again, we just try to run around, try to make sure to not stand on too much fire. He gets procced again. Skeleton wave number 3. And I'm just focusing on like the archers. All of the melee ones just died without me even noticing them. It's just the AoE is that strong, and you can see kind of like the Armageddon hitting him like a ton of times there. Yeah, we go ahead, we fill our belt. As you can see, Dclone was no struggle at all. At no point was I thinking, damn, I'm in danger. Of course, as a druid, you have the benefit of also having an oak, which boosts your health. Having more than 2k health is definitely like super nice in Dclone. But as you can see, with very under-geared elemental druid, we could very easily kill Dclone. Not at all worried about that fight. So you can do it too. Okay, if you have a Fire Druid mapper, just find a few pieces that give maximum to fire res, like Inferno Strides, like Water Walks, like Lava Gouts, like maybe Guardian Angel, and you'll be just fine running it that way. So that was our third demonstration, and now let's look at the Rathma attempt. And I will be honest and say, during the recording, while we do all these recordings live, basically we stream them, and during the first attempt I actually almost immediately died. Where's my... Yeah, there we go. So during the first attempt we actually almost immediately died, and the reason we died was because I'm pretty sure I was like just looking away for a moment during the first boss phase, So I decided to re-record it. It didn't feel like we died because the build wasn't good. So the first attempt, it's a DQ. We do not count it, and we then headed to a map. And the first map we opened gave us a splinter, kind of like a sign from Senpai himself that we were supposed to try again and do Fire Druid Rathma attempt. So this is attempt number 2 technically, but we'll just count it as attempt number 1. And you can see we're using the same Guardian Angel. We're using a pair of Venom Grips just for 5 more max poison, 5 max poison resistance. We're using a Tranks build for CBF. We're using a Nature's Piece just to make us a little bit more tanky. I was trying just like different parts of the gear. Some random 2 to Druid 50 PLR amulet that we found along the way. 50 PLR shield. It has +1 to skills. Alternatively, you don't need a +1 to skill slam. You could just find like a +1 to druid with PLR shield that has resistances. They're pretty common. These boots that we have slammed with 3 max to poison. If you ever find something like this that's PLR max to poison with lots of res, you can always keep that if you want to try Rathma. You know, if you casually want to do bossing, sometimes you just need to pay attention to these kind of slams or these kind of bases and just you know, put them to the side, save like a tab, maybe tab number 4 that nobody likes in the first place, and then just put all sorts of like stuff you might boss with in the future, like a Guardian Angel, like a Venom Grips, like Lava Gouts. I'm showing the charms. We didn't have our full skill as I said, so we put a bunch of fire skill large charms, and the rest was just resistances to make sure we're overcapped properly. And let me speed up a little bit the early phases, just so we can see kind of like how they went. Like, of course, like over here you can see us just walking through, and the AoE kind of takes care of all the monsters for you. You can cast from very far and you'll be safe. Like, you don't have to be worried about it. Yeah, we can show like, oh, let me show the full fight here. So yeah, over here, like I had a moment where I was reading a comment while streaming, and we just got hit by like 3 glacial spikes, and we just instantly died. The glacial spikes are very strong, especially if you don't have cold absorb, so you can do quite a bit of damage. So it's important to, you know, stay aware of those when you're bossing. But as you can see, we pretty much bring him down very fast. Every time we see a golem, we put a volcano on him, then throw 1 or 2 molten boulders, and that's basically what it took to kill them. I think if you have like actual facets on your gear, if your gear is very strong, you'll be able to do it very easily. Like this part was like no struggle at all. Over here in phase or in segment 3, we fill up our belt, no trouble. Then we go into the second boss phase versus Rathma only. And a nice perk for Fire Druid, I would say, during this fight was the fact that you'll see that when I'm getting caged, I actually immediately escape them, because all the fire damage we're doing is like AoE and is not like targeted. It basically just automatically breaks the cage without me even having to think about it. It's like a little bit nice perk, nice quality of life for the Fire Druid in here, which is kind of funny. Like, I didn't think like Fire Druid would have any benefits to bossing. But yeah, you learn something every day, you know. And over here we again fill up our belts. I think I'm clearing everything for experience. So yeah, you can see I'm like taking my time there. And let me slow down the final fight just so you can see how it plays out. Like I think you might be surprised with the results, ladies and gentlemen. So we go ahead into the void, and we cast our volcano. You basically, like, you cast your volcanoes trying to hit both of them, which makes all your AoE damage even stronger. Like, I'm basically just casting volcanoes and dodging. I wasn't like throwing meatballs so much, like the boulders. And over here you can see, yeah, we've been put in a cage. I'm not even looking at it, just breaking it automatically with my AoE. And builds that can pretty much throw AoE down and don't have to like aim or don't have to get close have this kind of benefit where you can choose how to dodge like the attacks. I was choosing to tank the Sludge Novas and dodge the spears and kind of like ignore the Sludge Novas. Like, if I was close, I'd go into the circle, but otherwise I just like, yeah, I dodge them. I try to dodge the cold waves. You can see I run away from them. And the reason I was going for this is because I saw him doing so much damage that I basically didn't care if I had to use a few more Jews just to heal like every time I get hit by a sludge. You see there I only have like 800 health missing. I heal anyway, like I don't care, just because that's how safe you can run this build. And yeah, I didn't want to get hit by one of these cold novas and maybe get hit towards like a spike or something. That would be really dangerous. As you can see, only took us like 1 minute to clear this fight. That's all it took with a Fire Druid. Barely dressed, you know, no facets, no like runes, not much investment in general. We had like some rubies in our Raven lore. You could have rubies in your armor as well. So fairly easy. I would recommend people who really enjoy Fire Druid, since this is one of like the early mapping builds that are really recommended. You can also farm your own Torch and a Nihilist with this, and even get your own Tainted Wallstone Shard. So that's kind of what we set out to show. I feel like I personally am very convinced this build can map and boss like at the same time with the same gear, with the same setup. And I was really happy with the results. I believe I saved like in the tab. I believe I saved in the tab here like a few things that we used. We used like the Spirit Shroud. We try to like map with it. We try to do bossing with it. We used like this Raven lore with the free rubies, so you can see it only has like only some rubies, minus 15 to fire res, so pretty average stats, like nothing above like the normal. We have this Meng Song that only had like MF Slam, pretty low minus to fire resistances. Nothing crazy really on this build. The skillers are just plain skillers. This one had 14 life, but the rest really didn't give us anything. And some large charms, free with 30 life, free plain, free with faster run walk, some FHR and 2 the fire skills. Like that, these are the kind of things that we had, like not a lot of life. So you're gonna be a lot safer, a lot tankier, and generally just a lot stronger and do a lot better. And it took us only a minute, so that's really all I think you have to say about Fire Druid. If you enjoyed this guide, make sure to throw a little like or a little comment. I enjoy reading those. And maybe if it's a question, I'll make sure to go ahead and respond. Feel free to drop a few build suggestions. I am probably not going to upload another attempt tomorrow. We have a few attempts on other druid classes that we've done, but we already went ahead and leveled our sorceress for some day one grind type of content, so I'll probably be focusing on that for the next 2 days, and then we'll get back to the DIY bossing series, hopefully as fast as possible. So if you have suggestions for other builds you want to see, either on Druid or in Sorceress, feel free to suggest them. If you have questions, comments, or just want to say, wow, that's really cool that you can boss with Fire Druid, that's really nice, that you can say that too, you know, that's also nice to read. With that said, thanks for watching, have a good whatever you're having, and I'll see you in the next stream or the next video. Bye.